Hi boys and girls, I hope you're well. I'm going to read chapter 12 of Atticus Claw Breaks the Law today. From what I can gather, you've already read up to this point, so I'll go from here. Chapter 12. Chaka 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 chaka. Thug and Slasher were having fun. Jimmy was out and they were trying on some of the stolen jewellery. The sunlight, which came in bright stripes through the wooden planks of the old pier, made the precious stones sparkle like fireworks. "What do you think?" Thug chattered, parading up and down the metal beams with a bracelet over one wing. "Do emeralds suit me?" "Without a doubt," Thug Slasher said. "They go with your plumage." "I like you in rubies," Thug returned the compliment. "They suit your complexion." "Nah, you're just being polite," Slasher grinned. "You know what they say, Thug?" He threw the ruby necklace carelessly onto the brimming nest and picked out a ring with his beak. "Diamonds are a bird's best friend." "You crack me up, Slasher." Thug nearly fell off the beam with laughing. Chaka 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 chaka. There was a rush of wings. Thug froze. Slasher blinked nervously. It was Jimmy Magpie. "Jimmy!" Slasher tried to hide the diamond ring under his wing. "We was just, checking things." "Put the stuff back." Jimmy glared at the two magpies coldly. "Do you want the fuzz to see you?" "The fuzz?" Thug repeated. "The cops, the heat, the bill." Thug and Slasher looked blank. "The police, you idiots!" Jimmy squawked. "They're out on patrol looking for the burglar." "The police?" gasped Thug. "Yeah, I've been thinking, and I've been keeping an eye on them all day while you two have been playing at dressing up." His eyes glittered brightly. "Inspector Cheddar, he's in charge." "Cheddar?" gasped Slasher. "Isn't that the name of the lady who's organising the Toffley Hall Antiques Fair? The one who lives at number 2 Blossom Crescent?" "Her husband," Jimmy confirmed. "I followed him back home this afternoon and listened at the window." Jimmy glanced behind him and fanned his luminous green tail feathers. "I nearly got my tail scalded by some foul-smelling brew in the process." Thug looked nervous. "You don't think he's on to us, do you?" "Why would he be?" Jimmy demanded. "What have you done?" "Slasher tried to steal his badge," Thug confessed. "You did what?" Jimmy grabbed the diamond ring off Slasher and whacked him over the head with it. "You bird brain!" "It wasn't me, it was him!" Slasher pushed Thug violently. Thug fell off his perch, fluttered unsteadily, then landed on Slasher's back. "No, it wasn't. It was you!" Slasher pushed him off. Thug shoved him back. "Cut it out!" Jimmy snapped. "Luckily, Inspector Cheddar's even more stupid than you two. He's no threat. Not yet, anyway. He hasn't got a clue about the burglaries. He's stumped." "Phew!" Thug put his wing round Slasher and hugged him. "That's all right then. I did learn something interesting, though," Jimmy went on carefully, examining his tail and the glittering diamond. "About our so-called friend, Atticus Claw." "What?" Slasher asked. "He's living with the Cheddars." "No way." Thug fell off his perch again. "I don't believe it," Slasher gasped. "I got a peek through the window," Jimmy said. He looked mighty cosy, curled up next to the inspector and a couple of snotty kids. Purring away, he was like a good little kitty. Slasher stared at his boss. What's he up to? Jimmy's eyes gleamed. "I'm not sure. My guess it's to do with Toffley Hall Antique Fair." "Somehow he must have heard about it when he arrived. I reckon he's sneaked in there with the Cheddars so he can find out if there's going to be anything worth stealing." He put his head on one side and looked sharply at the other magpies. "You haven't told him about it, have you?" His voice brimming with menace. "No!" squawked Slasher. Definitely not. Thug started to tremble. You can trust us. I hope so, Jimmy said icily. Or you know what will happen. He tossed the ring back into the nest. Slasher's beak twitched. Thug's knees knocked. No, Jimmy, please. Not the crows, Jimmy, please. We haven't told the cat anything, I swear. Tears were rolling down Thug's cheeks. Then he's cleverer than I thought, Jimmy spat. Where better to get the lowdown on the antiques fair than in the organiser's own home, and where better to hide from the police than right under their noses? What do you think he's going to do, boss? Thug asked, rubbing his bruised ankle with his wing. He's after that tiara, Jimmy said thoughtfully. Think about it. It could buy him all the mackerel in the Mediterranean. He paused, his eyes glittering. What worries me is that the only way he can be sure of getting it is if we're out of the way. You mean he's going to chomp us? Thug gulped. Then he'd get everything, Slasher fumed. Maybe, Jimmy said, but he'd have to catch us first. I'd biff him in the snout, Thug said proudly, and I'd peck him in the eye. Slasher sounded excited. He'd have you both for breakfast, Jimmy said coldly, but I doubt he'd take me on in a hurry. Who would, boss? Thug agreed. You're horrible. Thanks, Thug. Jimmy looked pleased. But even if he does manage to get rid of us, he's still got to snatch the tiara. Toffley Hall will be swarming with cops. Nah, Jimmy shook his head. I think he's got something else in mind. Something much more devious. What? Slasher and Thug gawped at him. I think he's going to frame us for the burglaries. Then, when Inspector Cheddar thinks the criminals are safely behind the bars, he's going to walk into the antiques fair and steal Lady Toffley's tiara from under his nose. He shrugged. That's what I'd do anyway if I were him. I don't want to go to jail. Fat tears rolled down Thug's cheeks. His body shook with sobs. Don't worry, Thug, Jim said kindly. It won't come to that. He took a deep breath and let out a satisfied sigh. Thanks to me, you won't be going to jail, nor will Slasher. Thanks, boss. Slasher sounded relieved. And most importantly, nor will I. Jimmy sat back comfortably against the nest and folded his wings. Atticus Claw, on the other hand, can look forward to a life sentence at Her Majesty's pleasure. Thug and Slasher looked at him, puzzled. But how, boss? We're going to give that cat a taste of his own medicine, Jimmy said cruelly. We're going to turn the tables on him. He leaned forward and spread his wings around the two magpies, gathering them close. His voice fell to a whisper. It's not him who's going to frame us, boys. It's us who are going to frame him.